something I see a lot of the time on Facebook and on Instagram. People have this perception that Pokemon is now too expensive to enjoy. We saw this crazy price climb in 2020, and while a lot of Pokemon has gone up in price, I personally feel that it's not too expensive and people still can enjoy the hobby. And I've made a video about this 2-3 weeks ago. Let's assume that somebody has that perception, but they have $100. What would your advice, what would your recommendation be to someone on a limited budget, $100, they want to have fun with Pokemon? Last question of the day, last topic of the day. What would your advice be to someone to go and have fun with $100 in Pokemon?
Well, first, you really have to ask yourself, what is your perception of fun? Are you wanting to have fun by investing? Are you wanting to have fun by collecting? Are you wanting to just go out and just relive some childhood nostalgia? I've used this example before of like the Pokemon hierarchy and how a lot of the buying decisions will trickle down this hierarchy. So let's say that back in 2016, I could buy first edition base set cards for under $100. I could do that all day, but it's not the case anymore. And I can't, like, for the most part. I mean, even for a guy like myself, like there's a lot of cards, the vast majority of cards out there for like first edition. I mean, I'm not buying those.
Yeah.
And so people have to be able to tailor their expectation, but you can move down that hierarchy. And this is what I mean by that. If you can't afford first edition base set, then maybe you go down to Shadowless. If you can't afford Shadowless, then you go down to Unlimited. If you can't afford Unlimited, then maybe you're going down to Japanese. And then from there, you go down to Evolutions. And then from there, you go to CP6. And there's got to be something along that hierarchy where it meets the price point of the investor or the collector. So that is something that I would start with first. Fine tune it, really look at what it is that my little girl's yelling for me right now. That's the life of a Poké dad. But hold on, sweetie, I'll be out there in a second. But yeah, so you want to look at what it is that you want to enjoy. And that's where you really have to, like for me, like I'm not concerned about getting the Charizards. Like I'm a Mewtwo guy. Like Mewtwo's my favorite Pokemon.
Yeah, love Mewtwo.
So, that's where you have to look at, like, are you trying to buy these things because you actually want it, or because that is what's most popular and what is being thrown in your face all the time? Yeah. So that I think is a great place to start. And then finding those price levels that fit within your particular budget. So for $100, I mean, the vast majority of cards out there are actually under $150, especially if you're picking cards up raw. Now, again, does that mean that you are you the type of person where you have to have a gem mint card? Or are you okay with a lightly played card or a highly played card? Or you're okay with something that's like a PSA 5 status? You just want to have it in your collection. That's, again, another factor that you have to take into consideration there, because you can lower that price point even further if you're willing to sacrifice the quality over the quantity, or the condition over the actual higher valued products. Yeah. So to give you a specific example, I actually just did a video. And again, this is just strictly hypothetical. It's just something that I saw that I thought was an interesting topic. I recently did a video on the top 5 Pokemon with the fewest cards ever released in.
I saw that pop up. I'm not around to watching it, but I saw it pop up on my feed. It's one to watch for the weekend.
Yeah. So, it's just kind of a fun topic there. And it was a concept that I was thinking about. I was like, well, you know what? We've got cards out there that are extremely rare. We've got cards out there that are extremely valuable. These are tailored to their quantitative measures. And then we've got cards out there that are valuable in the sense of like the connotation behind them. So like banned cards, because of the cards being banned, a lot of people really want those. They're not necessarily super rare, but they're highly sought after because of the connotation behind them. And some cards can have a mix of both. They can have a connotation behind them. They can have the quantitative measures as well. So it got me to thinking, well, what about Pokemon specifically that have had the fewest cards has every Pokemon had a card in the TCG. So I started researching it, started looking into it further, and I came up with these 5 Pokemon that have the fewest cards. And spoiler alert, they're all baby Pokemon.
Right.
Baby Pokemon were released back in Diamond and Pearl.
I think.
What's that?
Was it Neo Genesis when baby Pokemon? I remember there was the Pichu cards in Neo Genesis.
Well, I'm speaking specifically of the typing of baby Pokemon.
Yeah.
Because you're absolutely right. You had what was the?
It was the baby.
I mean, technically, Togepi would be considered a baby Pokemon. Cleffa would be a baby Pokemon. But yeah, really, Diamond and Pearl is when we started to see the typing on the cards for baby Pokemon. And that's where most of these cards were actually released. So the top 2, there's actually 2 Pokemon that have only had 1 English card ever released. That is Bonsly and Mantike. They had 1 card released back in Diamond and Pearl base set, and that is the only card that has ever been released for those Pokemon. So there again, these are cards. You can pick these up out on the open market in PSA 9, PSA 10s for pennies on the dollar. Especially raw cards, well under $100 for a very good quality card. And you're getting into something that could have potential there. And it's also fun. It's something that you can have as a collector's piece, something that could be a conversation starter where you say, I've got the Pokemon, I've got a complete set of the top 5 Pokemon with the fewest cards ever released into the TCG. Yeah. And then I think number 3 was Budew, which in actuality, that Pokemon has the fewest overall. So Mantike and Bonsly, they only have 1 card released in English, but there are 2 promo cards that were released in Japan. Whereas Budew only has 2 cards that were released in both English and the Japanese equivalent. So overall, Budew actually has the fewest cards ever released.
I think when you get into the specifics, and I spoke about this on a video recently, when you get into the specifics of different kinds of collections like that, you can make it super fun. You can set yourself a goal and you can make it affordable. What you mentioned about collect what you like, what you think is fun, rather than just what's popular. Yeah, Charizard's always popular. Charizard's always expensive. So if you go and buy, well, Charizard's gone up in price, I can't afford it now, so Pokemon's too expensive. Okay, great, your price of the market. But if you actually enjoy Pokemon as a franchise, like you just mentioned, a subject like that, collecting cards that have the fewest prints or the fewest appearances across the entire TCG, collecting cards by specific artists, collecting cards like specific species of Pokemon. There's a ton of different ways to build a collection that makes, you know, the entire hobby fun, and that kind of makes you feel like you've earned something and you've worked towards completing the goal, and you can check it off your list at the end of it. That isn't expensive. It's going to make you learn more about the hobby, keep you active, and you can have fun doing it. So I think that what you mentioned there is a great starting point. I'll link it. It'll be on the eye somewhere, or I'll put the link for that video of yours down in the description below so people can go and check that out. And I think it is just, I know I hate the phrase, you know, think outside of the box, but I think if you want to have fun with Pokemon, for me, it's easily doable. And like you mentioned, how do you define fun is going to be different for everybody. But if you want to collect and you want to make collecting affordable, I think it's very easy to do if you just get a little bit creative with what your goals are. Forget about the hype, forget about all the expensive cards, and you just kind of niche down a little bit. Use a hierarchy that you mentioned. I've kind of got a similar process as well. It starts with grades. If you can't afford the 10, go the 9, 8, 7. If you can't afford grades, go for the raw cards. Mint, near mint, played, whatever it might be, and you go down the hierarchy. If you can't afford the English, go for the Japanese. So very similar kind of process to yours. But yeah, I definitely think you can have fun, you can collect without spending a fortune.
Yeah, definitely. Another example would be fairy type Pokemon. Pokemon, what I believe it was after Cosmic Eclipse, I think right before Sword and Shield base set, did away with the fairy typing. So maybe you go back and you collect all the fairy type Pokemon.
Yeah.
And that again, that's kind of a one-off, a little niche thing that you could be the only person out there that is actually doing that.
Yeah.
Same thing with the baby Pokemon, or these Pokemon that had the fewest cards. There's so many opportunities out there for folks. I do a series along with that, an undervalued series, where I just basically comb the market and I try to find products or sets or series that I think is currently being overlooked by the overall market. And I try to provide that to people and say, hey, look, here's another opportunity as well for people to get in. Maybe you can get in on the ground floor. And if you're specifically an investor, you can get in on the ground floor, and then 5-10 years from now actually be in a similar position to people who were investing in, oh, I don't know, the base set unlimited booster boxes back in 2016.
20
You
years
can be right there.
ago or something. Yeah, no, I agree
Yeah.
completely. Just want to wrap things up there. Thanks everybody for watching. If you have enjoyed this, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Go and check out PokeNav. All the links are going to be down below. And until next time, remember that collecting ain't no gimmick, it's a lifestyle.